Hello, hello, good people. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Make America Think Again with Shauna Vaughn. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to my page. I really appreciate you all being here. Let's take care of the housekeeping first. Please make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you can be notified every time I post an episode. They typically drop on Sundays. Um, I'm really trying to get to the point where I can do more. I have a little break here, so you might be seeing them more frequently. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Also, make sure that you are liking the episodes that just pique your interest, speak to you somehow, some way. And then also invite folks over to the page, to the channel. Give them the information, share it with them, and bring them to the page. Down below, you can see the correct spelling of my name. You have my Instagram there. I put that there because I'm constantly posting political information. And so throughout the week, throughout the day, you can just go to my IG page and you will find all the political information that you really need to know, like the top stories. Not everything, the top stories. And then you have my Cash App there, 1111 Oracle, because I just be knowing y'all. I just be knowing if you've been with me long enough, you know I've been pretty on point about a lot of things. Okay. And then also if you want to bless a sister, then you can bless a sister there. Just drop a little something, something in the Cash App if you'd like to. All right, so let's move into, I want to talk a little bit more about what I touched on last week in regards to these reparations for criminals and insurrectionists that tried to actually overthrow our government on January 6th. So let's talk about it. So there's this slush fund that the felon, first of all, he was suing the IRS. Okay, that was first. And then he said, you know what, I'm going to back off of that if we can pull from or create this slush fund of $1.776 billion for anyone who was aggrieved by the Biden administration. Okay, so this is literally reparations being set up for criminals, insurrectionists, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, 3%ers, the whole gang. Okay, the whole gang who stormed the Capitol, who beat up police officers, beat up and killed police officers, that whole gang. So that's what the slush fund is intended for. Anybody that was aggrieved by the Biden administration. Now, since this was announced, the pillow guy has jumped in. That couple from Missouri who came out on the lawn with their pew pews and looking, at the Black Lives Matter protesters, like we're gonna shoot you, we're gonna shoot you if you come on our lawn. That sort of all the people are coming out of the woodwork and looking for a payday. The leader of the Proud Boys, who was supposed to actually be in prison for 20 years, Enrique Ontario, he's asking for 5 million. I believe the pillow guy is asking for up to 400 million. So you get where I'm going with this. Okay, so that's out there. This is what's been happening or has transpired over the week. Whole bunch of people lining up for some money. Now, if it were to just be partitioned out or petitioned out to those who were arrested and charged and imprisoned for storming the Capitol, then it worked out to be a little over $1 million per person. Okay, and that's quite a bit of cash. That's quite a bit of cash for somebody who had very little to begin with for a lot of these folks. So what I think is where I see them trying to go with this right now, it's been stalled. Actually, Congress just left, said, you know what, there were some Republicans that had an issue with this slush fund. And so they couldn't come to a consensus. And so they just left, like, hey, we're going to leave for Memorial Weekend and we'll come back in June. Now, My belief is what they're going to do is they're going to try to wait until the chatter about this calms down and slows down. They're going to come back and they're going to try to pass some shit in the middle of the night because y'all know that's what Republicans like to do. They're too cowardice. They are weak, feckless followers that don't have a mind of their own, and they are too cowardice to do it when the public is awake, when the public is paying attention, when there are constant conversations about it. And that's what I personally believe is going to happen. I don't believe that this is, oh, they're just all in an uproar and they're not going to do anything about it. Do not get comfortable in thinking that. And I also believe that the felon will view this as, or the intention behind this is for him to have his own personal, paid, and pardoned paramilitary on standby. Like this will be the retainer for them to do whatever he wants them to do down the line, whether that's showing up for at polling locations in the midterm elections or things that are even worse. I believe that's what this payment is supposed to be about. Just a personal, pardoned, and paid paramilitary that answers to the felon. And let me say this also. I believe if this is to happen, these people, you have to imagine how emboldened that will make them. They cannot be charged. They've been pardoned, right? Some, I believe, received lifetime pardons, so they can't be charged with anything. There will be no accountability, and now they've become millionaires. So yeah, just imagine how emboldened they will become, and then also how this will increase their loyalty to the felon, as if there's any room for that. As if there's any room for increase, it will only increase their loyalty to him, if that's even possible. But yeah, I do see some pitfalls here. So this morning we woke up to, again, they like to do shit in the middle of the night. So we woke up to the DOJ trying to get rid of evidence, scrub the internet of evidence of January 6th even occurring, of everything connected to January 6th. Because as I told you from day one, January 6th was an inside job, and the inside job continues. Okay, so now the inside is trying to take care of the outside and prepare the outside to go up against the rest of us again. So they wanted, they pardoned them, and now they're trying to clear and scrub the internet of everything. But here's the gotcha. Here's the gotcha. Here's how I think they played themselves on this point. If you erase all of the history, all of the documentation of everything that happened in January 6th, how is anybody going to apply for this money that is directly connected to anybody who can prove that they were aggrieved by the Biden administration? Where's the proof going to be if you have scrubbed the internet of all the proof, of all the history, of all the verification that this incident even occurred? So this is how I think they have first fucked up. Secondly, could it just be the DOJ? The DOJ has played themselves, or is the DOJ, that inside job, doing another con, another grift on the January 6th folks, on the MAGA folks? Because here again, if I have promised you some money, I've promised you some funds, like those tariff kickbacks, like the Doge dividend checks that were supposed to be sent out that no one ever received. Here again, they are promising these folks some money, right? And if I have scrubbed all the evidence of anything occurring, once you come to apply for the said money, I can come back to you and say, sorry, sir, sorry, ma'am, I don't see any evidence of you being arrested. I don't see any evidence of you being on Capitol Hill. I don't see any evidence of you ever being in Nancy Pelosi's office. I don't see any evidence of any video of you participating in January 6th. So sorry to you, we can't give you any money. Sorry to you. And then once they denied all these folks their applications, what do you think is going to happen with that money? Who do you think is going to benefit? Who has another slush fund just sitting off the coast of Venezuela that only he can control, that only he oversees? So I see a couple of ways that folks are going to get played in this situation. Folks are going to get played. I don't know if the DOJ is trying to con the people or the DOJ is playing themselves. I don't know. But the erasure of all of the history and all of the proof of this incident ever occurring is interesting. It's an interesting choice. Let me just say that. I'm going to leave it at that. And then also, another thing that someone else brought to my attention is if these funds are paid, let's say they are paid to these people, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, all the January Sixers, all the shit smearers that showed up at the Capitol. Are these people likely to properly invest these funds? Or do you think these people will immediately start just spending this money on whatever? And in their spending, this money goes right back into the economy that is being crippled right now by the regime that is in DC. They're going to lie to you all day and tell you that the economy is doing well, but we feel it. We know what we're paying for electric bills, what we're paying for gas, what we're paying for groceries. People know that their house has been sitting on the market for months because there are more sellers than buyers right now, people that can afford to buy. Do y'all know the average home? I just found this out. The average home cost of a home in Los Angeles is $800,000 right now. Right now. So who can afford to buy these homes? So they're telling you one thing and reality is completely different. But if you throw money into the accounts of these folks who are already hurting, just imagine how quickly they're going to spend that money. Just imagine how quickly they're going to go through it. And that money is going to go back into the economy. They know this. And also, those people at the top 1% that own all these corporations, they're going to be the only ones that benefit from it. Now, yes, there'll be a couple that are smart and savvy, and they're going to invest properly, or they're going to put more money back into the party. They're going to invest in some candidates, things like that. But I think that those people, if I really look back on who I saw in the crowd that was scaling the walls of the Capitol and more than likely smearing their feces on walls. If I think about those people and what they would do with $1 million, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be the most efficient overseers of that sort of income. So I see some pitfalls here. I see some complications here that might pop up. But here's what I want to say to you also. In regards to this slush fund, the money cannot go directly to the felon, but it can go to his children and it can go into some of his corporations. Yeah, so he can still benefit from it. And then also this week, we saw that they tried to sneak another clause into the documentation in regards to this slush fund. They tried to add that, to end this tax clause that would protect the felon and his family, that, he could not receive any audits. His family can't receive any audits. His corporations can't receive any audits, nor can he receive any audits from the IRS indefinitely. They slipped that clause in after this information had already been published about this slush fund. So here's what I want to tell you right now. Congress left. Congress just left. They dismissed themselves to go on, memorial break, and they won't be back until after June 1st, right? Also, there was some dissent amongst Republicans. There are some Republicans that are saying, hell no, including the decrepit Mitch McConnell, but y'all know how he flip-flops, and then he's not all there right now. We can clearly see that. So there's that. They're gone. Nothing can be voted on right now. But here's what I want to leave you with on this topic. I believe that all of us need to file. I believe that every single one of us needs to file. First of all, I'm still waiting on the class action lawsuit in regards to COVID. I don't understand why no one has kickstarted that yet. I haven't, because I didn't lose any family members, but I know many, many people did. I didn't lose anybody close to me. I was sick myself 3 times, but I didn't lose anyone. So I don't understand why that class action lawsuit isn't out there. There were people who lost family and friends. There were people who ingested ivermectin. There were people who actually tried to drink some bleach. Like, where's the lawsuit for that? That's number one. Number two, we should all apply because we have all suffered mental duress. We have all received terroristic threats or lived under the imposition of terroristic threats with the icy folks. We have been promised funds that we have never received. That would be fraud. Our rights have been violated. Our records have been stolen by Doge. We have all been aggrieved by our government. Now, it depends on the verbiage. It depends on the verbiage in the slush fund. If this slush fund specifically says under the Biden administration, then yeah, some of us will be asked out. But if it just says aggrieved by the government, because that is the whole reason why I told y'all last week, if anybody should be paid reparations, it should be the descendants of slaves, right? That has never happened. That 40 acres and a mule was never received by Black people, by African Americans. So if anybody should be receiving reparations, it should be us first. But if the way this reads is all people aggrieved by the government, then I think we should all apply. I think everyone should apply. Black, brown, white, whatever ethnicity, whatever your religion is, whatever your background is, education-wise, no matter where you live, south, north, east, west, everybody apply. Everyone apply. Because in some way and somehow, we have all been aggrieved by this government. We've all been aggrieved. Even if you just stop with the mental duress that we are put through every single day, we have all been aggrieved. So look for more information to come out once Congress comes back and there's a decision made whether or not they're going to move forward with this slush fund in some sort of way. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it because I am definitely going to apply. I'm going to figure out some way that I can apply because this is ridiculous. If you're not going to pay reparations to descendants of slavery, no one should be receiving reparations as far as I'm concerned. But if you are, we should all apply. Even if it's just that all of us applying clogs up the damn system, we should all apply. But at the end of the day, you had Doge that stole our records, stole our personal information, and sold it to third parties. That's what Doge did to us. Every day, it's a roller coaster with all the news, all the information. So I have some things that I'm thinking about, how I can apply, and I'm going to share them with all of you because I believe that we should all be applying. All right, happy Memorial Day to everyone who, well, just to everyone. I'm quite sure everyone celebrates Memorial Day in some sort of way or acknowledges Memorial Day in some sort of way. And then also rest in power, Rob Base. Vote. Make sure you're voting as well. If you have, If you have primary elections where you live, if you have them right now, which we are having in the state of California right now, vote in every single election and vote early. All right, talk to everybody soon.